bottom of this thing, back in the 60s, there were some places called Z-Bart and something like that, and you'd take your car in there and they would see how much tar and undercoating they could put on it, supposedly to prevent rust. I mean, they do the bottom of the gas tank, they do the brake lines, they do the fuel lines, they did everything. So we had to take all that out and throw it away. And then Shannon, we covered the bottom of the car with Easy Off oven cleaner. Believe it or not, that's the toughest stuff in the world when it comes to cleaning something. You spray that stuff on there, set it out in the sun where the heat's on it, it'll eat grease right off of it. So then he'd come back and pressure wash the bottom of it, and about 40% of that so-called undercoating they had on it came off. I mean, oh, this thing looked horrible the day before yesterday. It looked worse than horrible. So we put 2 coats of the lizard skin. They make two things, sound and heat. You put 2 coats of the sound on and 1 coat of the heat on top, and that's by far the best thing you can do to the bottom of a car. I put it in the roof of quite a few cars. Take the headliner out and do the roof, and then do the floor, and then do under the floor. And then we come back and put that peel and stick stuff on it that we showed you before, and it really makes a difference in the car. We did a 85, I think it was, Dodge pickup truck. That thing was so noisy you couldn't scream in it. And we got through with it, it's just quiet as it could be. It made all the difference in the world in it. But that's where we're on the Lancer. All the front suspension's done and back together. This has all been powder coated up here, taken apart, powder coated, everything new in it. And I got the rear end. Me and Shannon took the rear end out a couple days ago, and he took it home with him and sandblasted it. So now I'm taking it apart. I had it sitting there draining. I'm just fixing to take it all apart. I'll clean it and pressure wash it, and then we'll powder coat it. I got an oven I built over here that's big enough to put a rear end in. So we'll powder coat it black and make it all look nice. Put all new brake lines on it. Put the stainless steel armor on the brake line so it looks nice. And all the brake stuff will be cleaned up. The brake drums will be cleaned and powder coated. But that's what we try to do. We try to make it look nice and make it work. We're supposed to. The stock wheel cylinders that were in there, you wouldn't believe what they look like inside. .3 brake fluid collects moisture. If you have a car sitting around with that stuff in it, it's going to rust the wheel cylinders. I've taken some of these wheel cylinders off here. Me and Shannon have taken them off. You can't even get the piston out of them. You just throw them away. Best thing to do with an old used wheel cylinder, just throw it away. Don't waste your time trying to save it. You can't. Because it just, I don't know how that stuff does it, but it collects moisture somehow inside the wheel cylinder. I mean, full of brake fluid, sealed off from air, and it'll get moisture in it. See all that rust in there?
Yeah, it looks bad.
That's a fairly new wheel cylinder. That's not the original wheel cylinder. You can tell by looking at the outside of it. But that's all what the inside of it looks like. I hadn't taken this apart till you came up here just now. Look at there. Ooh. That's what you find in a old used wheel cylinder. You just take them apart and get you a new one. Don't even worry about it. It's just not worth fooling with. You can't save that. The inside of it's all rusted up, and people try to hone them and put new cups in them, and they don't work. So that's kind of where we are on the rear end. We'll have the rear end back together by Monday. It'll all be powder coated. And, well, I got a bunch of people coming to the museum tomorrow, and then I got to do something with Buddy Sunday. So we'll get it back together by next week and get it going. And then this thing over here, we took the block and the heads and everything over to Brian at the machine shop this morning. We was taking it apart. We took the plugs out of the block. Now this was supposedly a rebuilt engine. And we took the plugs out of the block where the oil galleys are. They were full of sludge. Now this thing had new rings in it. The crank had been turned and new bearings, which are all scratched up from all the crud in it. And I just don't understand how people do stuff like this. I just don't understand it. You take something 50 years old, you got to take it all the way down completely and basically start all over. If you don't, you're just kidding yourself. And there's so much of it out there. A friend of mine just bought a 69 Satellite convertible, and that's a nice looking car until he started cleaning it up on the hood. And now he's got the inner fender panels out because they were all full of Bondo. He took the carpet out of it, and the floor was fiberglass. But that's what happens. These people, they make it pretty from here to the door over there, sell it to you, and then you get it home, and this is what you get. It's just sad. It really is. There's a lot of crooks in this industry. It really is. Because we've dealt with a bunch of them. Believe me, we have. We've seen the results of it. But our Lancer is going to be really neat. That's going to be the nicest one of all four of them in the country. Actually, Michael found another one a couple of weeks ago. A really nice one. And he bought the darn thing just for the heck of it. I drove it. It's got no brakes. If you look in this box, you'll see a new power brake unit for a Lancer. That's fixing to go on it. I drove that thing. I got it up to about 30 miles an hour and put both feet on the brake pedal and couldn't lock the wheels. That's pretty bad. So I told Mike, I said, do not drive this car. He said, well, the guy was driving it that owned it. He said he was driving it. Yeah, yeah. But Master Power Brakes has got those. I called them on Thursday. It was here Friday. So you can't beat that. And those people have been in business a good while. And when they first started in business, I went down there and talked to the guy that owned it and got him to fix me a disc brake kit for Michael's little blue 65 Barracuda, the one we still got. And it's got the disc brake kit on it that they put out. I was talking to one of the salespeople the other day, and I asked him, that guy sold out, but he's still in and out of there some. But I told him, tell him hello for him, because he fixed me a brake kit for Mike's Barracuda. Yeah. And I got a magazine article done on the car for his brake kit, and that helped him get started. I like to do things like that. I like to help people. I enjoy helping people. That's just, I don't know. I spend a lot of time with people that I hardly know on the phone, but I enjoy it, you know, and all I want out of it, all I ever get out of it doing it, and I do it a lot, is when they call me back and say, Herb, we did exactly what you told us to do and it worked. I had one call me this week that I had told him to fix a A-body car. Told him put a 4-core radiator in it, put a high volume water pump on it, put a small pulley on the water pump. They'll never overheat again. Nice. These people making these fancy water pump pulleys, don't buy a water pump pulley that was bigger than the one you took off. You slow that water pump down, you heat your car up. And they'll make a bigger crank pulley. They'll make a smaller crank pulley. And their excuse was, we picked up 5 horsepower. Well, what good is it if you're sitting on the side of the road with a radiator steaming? You want to keep the crank pulley as big as you can and keep the water pump pulley small. I've changed a bunch of them. And I walked up to a guy one day, there was steam coming out of the radiator. He's telling me about his car overheating. And I said, when did it start overheating? He said, about a month ago. I said, when did you put them pulleys on there? He said, about a month ago. I said, figure it out. But, you know, the cooling system has to work. You got to have good flow in the radiator. And now these companies, a couple of them make these 4-core radiators. Spend the money and get the 4-core radiator. You can't have too much water, can't have too much coolant. And, you know, you got to keep the thing cool. If you're having heating problems that you can't fix, something that you can do that'll help it is put an engine oil cooler on it. Because if you cool the oil down 10 or 15 degrees, you're going to cool the engine down. And they make, after, you know, you can buy a small oil cooler and put it in the line. There's a friend of mine who's got a car that's got no place to put one. It's got a big aluminum radiator with 2 fans. It's got an air conditioner condenser in front of that and a transmission cooler in front of that. And we were in it one day on about a 90-degree day, and we didn't know if we was going to get back to the shop or not. So he's ordered an oil cooler that's about this big, and it's got a little fan on it, and you mount it under the car and set it with your thermostat, you know, like your electric fan is, so it comes on when the fan comes on, it'll cool the oil in it. We're going to try it and see how it works, but it's got to work. Anytime you can cool something, it works better. But that's kind of where we are.
All right, so some of you viewers at home might be wondering, what does Herb mean by putting that drivetrain all in it? Because we still got a lot of stuff to do in this car. Meaning we still have to put engine, transmission, drive shaft, speedo cable, the exhaust back underneath it. We are also going to have to still do a condenser. We got to mount the AC stuff inside the car underneath the dash. We have to do holes through the firewall to run all the AC lines. So I'm thinking these next few weeks are going to be quite busy. So stay right along with us. We got a lot to do. It's going to be fun getting this little car put together. Still need to put all the...
Dad, you tell him we got electric power steering on it?
Yeah. Well, I was just telling him, like, he was talking about, like, what all does that encompass and trying to get this engine in 2 weeks. I was like, not just running, but we still have to do condenser underneath the dash AC. We got to run AC lines. We got to put holes in the firewall to run that. I was like, people at home, keep in mind, we got a lot of stuff to do in a very short period of time here if we can. So we'll try to get it done as quick as possible. But it looks so much better being undercoated and lizard skinned up. So the engine stuff's basically ready to go. The only thing really with the engine we still got to do is we got to actually hook up. Bushellon makes because these transmissions originally, the 904s that came in these things, they would actually have a mechanical linkage. So Bushellon makes a kit that is a cable. So we got to hook all that stuff up, set it up correctly. Pretty much bolt the engine in. That's really going to be the biggest thing. Bushellon says that we may need to do some modifications to the floor to actually fit the transmission in the way it's set up. But we're going to see how that all works out. Alrighty, so stay along with us just to kind of recap what's going on. That 57, we got to get the engine back. Then we got to put it all back together, put it back in the car. Now keep in mind that's going to be a journey all in itself with that having that flange crank and the way that motor's set up on it. Now this car here, the biggest thing we got to get is that rear end rebuilt. We got to get the leaf springs put in the car, basically get it back on all four wheels to get it ready to drop that engine and transmission in the car. So stay tuned with us. See you on the next episode.